like that song? I do. We don't talk anymore. I'm here to talk about communication and how we communicate. Those people sitting towards the front of the room tend to communicate with their mouths, and I think you guys towards the back, if you're anything like my son, communicate with your thumbs, and also with a series of grunts and nods that we occasionally have to translate as parents. But communication is so vital in this concept of living together and working together. You've got to get it right. We all know how to do it. We don't necessarily know how to do it right. And the problem with getting your communication wrong is that it can lead to misunderstandings. And if we get a misunderstanding, we get a communication breakdown. And if we get a communication breakdown, we get a relationship breakdown. And people can often think that breakdown means broken. In our culture, we perceive broken things as unusable. And therefore, we often discard something that we consider to be completely broken. Fortunately, there are other cultures we can learn from. The Japanese make beautiful, beautiful vases. And when those vases break, they fix them. And they fix them with glue with golden dust in, so that those vases are showing the breaks, but the breaks become part of their history, part of their beauty. Now, mediators believe that communication can always be fixed, and that from communication, we learn. We believe that proper communication becomes the golden dust that fixes the relationship breakdown. And through that golden dust, we can help not only the relationship be maintained, we can also help strengthen it. So, at the very least, what we want people to do is learn from their communication experiences and develop new strategies to fix next time. At the very best, we want people to learn to work through their problems, solve those problems together, and save their relationship. Why is this so important? For you, as a transformation agent, it's very important, as Claudia's just said, how you communicate with yourself. How you communicate with yourself impacts how you feel about yourself. How you feel about yourself impacts how you feel about those you come into immediate contact with. So the people you tend to come in immediate contact with will be your family members. How we communicate within our family reflects on how we then go out and communicate in our school or in our workplace. And how we communicate in our school or our workplace reflects on how we communicate in our neighborhood and our community. Learning proper mechanisms of communicating properly in all those situations will make us very naturally inclined to proper, positive, workable, solution-based communication. That will be a foundation stone for positive transformation of yourself, your family life, your relationship and your professional life, and how you interact in the world and how you work towards bringing people together. Don't worry, I'm going to give you some clues as to how to do this. In my own experience as a lawyer, and also my personal experience as a daughter and a wife and a mother, I come across a lot of conflict. A lot of conflict. And in those conflicts, I see patterns. I'm aware that words can be used to heal, to soothe, and to bring people together. Words can also act like daggers and cause damage and harm that can really feel irreparable. Misplaced and badly chosen words can scar and wound more deeply than you would ever appreciate when you say them. So, as you can tell, I'm really fascinated by communication. And I have started to train people in communication methodology. And I came up with the idea of telling my students that as long as they're cool, they're going to be okay. And if they're an arse, they're not going to do very well at all. Now, cool means calm, objective, open-minded, and listening. So remember that. You want to be cool. You want to be calm, objective, open-minded, and listening. Don't be an arse, which is arrogant, rude, selfish, egotistical. When you are calm, open-minded, objective, and listening, the person you are speaking to will have far more respect for you and will be more prepared to listen to you. When you're an arse, the person is just not going to want to interact with you, and that communication is going to end. A conflict process is like a spiral. It's like a hurricane. I don't know, you guys at the back probably too young, but there's an awesome film called Twister. It's one of my favorite films where they chase these hurricanes, and it's very visual. You see like houses getting destroyed and things, or the Wizard of Oz as well. If you imagine the worst case scenario of a conflict is a hurricane like that, it's completely out of control. Conflict is caused by an action. It's either an accident or it's on purpose, but it's an action. What follows is a reaction to the action. So someone's hurt by the action, whether it's physically, emotionally, whether they've lost a job, whether a relationship is broken down. That person experiences hurt. In trying to resolve that, that person who's been hurt tends to want some form of recompense. Now, the word recompense is just a polite word for revenge, really. An eye for an eye, a tooth for tooth. I want you to acknowledge my hurt. In legal circles, we find a monetary solution. We try and find a value for the hurt. How much was the hurt worth? But in mediation solutions, we recognize that that payment may not help the person. It may not help them learn lessons from the experience, and it may not actually heal them in any way, shape, or form. So what we really ultimately want to look for in mediation is we want to find a real and true workable problem that solves the actual situation and reduces the hurricane. So what's a mediator and what do they do? We're a neutral, objective third party who allows the parties to express their differences in a safe, non-judgmental environment. That means we sit down with the parties, we have a coffee, and we listen to them. We don't talk to them or at them, we listen to them and we hear them. And then what we work towards is finding a solution that benefits them, but is also attractive to the other person in the dispute. We're looking for a win-win here, not a win-lose. Usually, we try and encourage the parties to come to the solution themselves. Sometimes they need a little bit of guidance, but normally we would prefer it that they come to the solution themselves. How do we do this? The first thing is we listen. It's so important. And real listening, not listening like preparing your next argument or the next thing you're going to say, but listening, really hearing what the person is saying. We do something called focus on the problem and not on the people. If you start to bring characteristics and people into an argument and make it really, really personal, that argument's going to go on to tangents you don't want it to go on. So what's the problem? Not who is the person that created the problem, what is the problem? We need to understand the person's position, what's happened to them, why are they hurt, what are their needs. So we need to listen and we need to ascertain those. But more importantly than their position, we need to understand what their interest is. What's going to make them happy again? What's going to make them walk away from this dispute? And that's their interest. And it's a really hard thing to find in a communication process because people keep their interests really close to their chest, either because it's emotional and they don't want to talk about it, or because they're game playing, or they think it's a strategy. So mediation is about finding the interest and then finding the mutual interest. Okay, so all of those people who have done any kind of mediation training, everyone else, in mediation, we have a situation where we're always talking about the divided orange. So I have an orange, and I have two people that both want that orange, and they are presenting very, very convincing arguments to me that I should give them the orange and deprive the other person the orange. What do? Cut it in half. You're all excellent lawyers, not such great mediators, because a mediator will not cut the orange in half. For those people, Amber's here, who did the training with me, and we remember, we were told, because we all said, cut the orange in half. What do? We ask why they want the orange. Why do you want the orange? Because somebody, if it's my kids, someone's going to want to make teeth out of the skin. Or someone's going to want to do orange printing. Or someone's going to want the seed. They're not necessarily going to ask for the entire orange. But in conflict, we often just make an assumption about what the parties need. Mediation asks why the parties need what it is they need. Okay, enough of the hypothetical. I'm going to give you an example of a mediation. And these are my notes, and these are genuine. I don't know if you can see at the back, but they're really scruffy, they're really messy. In mediation, we're about talking and listening. We're not about note-taking. We're about really, really solving the problem. So I met with this couple. It's hypothetical, by the way. I met with this. Mediators are very confidential. This is not a real situation, but it's a situation that could arise. So this couple wanted some help. They're in love, young couple, first relationship, split up. And so I meet with them. I've got Charlie, and I've got Selena. So Charlie, I go and meet with him first, because he came to me. And I say, Charlie, now, imagine I'm Selena now, and you really want to open your heart out to me. Tell me what it is you want to say. And he says, Fiona, we don't talk anymore. We don't talk anymore. We don't talk anymore like we used to do. We don't laugh anymore. What was all of it for? Oh, we don't talk anymore like we used to do. So I figured Charlie's upset. So I'm going to be silent, and I'm going to let him carry on. I can feel there's something more coming. And he does. He says, I just heard that she's found the one she's been looking for. I wish I could have known that wasn't me. Because even after all this time, I still wonder why I can't move on, just the way she did so easily. I don't want to know what kind of dress she's wearing tonight, if he's holding her so tight the way I did before. I should have known her love was a game. Now I can't get her out of my brain. It's such a shame that we don't talk anymore. Okay, Charlie, I get it. You don't talk anymore. Thank you so much. Right? This is good. What I can see here is Charlie is definitely still very hung up on Selena. He's struggling to move on. He thinks the relationship is over, but all he can think about, he can't get her out of his brain, is he's thinking about Selena. He also is laying some blame at her door. He's saying, I wish I knew she hadn't felt that strong about me. And also, she's playing games. He's making a lot of assumptions here about what's actually going on in Selena's head. He also is very jealous, and here's where we put the person into the problem. The problem is they don't talk anymore. It's not that they might be meeting other people, they might be going out. The problem is they've stopped communicating, and I need to keep that at the forefront of their minds. Jealousy isn't going to help. Looking back isn't going to help. Charlie and Selena need to focus on what they both feel the same. So I say to Charlie, hold that thought. I'm just going to go and have a quick coffee with Selena and see how she feels. She starts with the whole we don't talk anymore again, and I'm like, I get it. You don't talk anymore. But she says, she also says, we don't laugh anymore. What was all of it for? We don't talk anymore. And I'm like, Selena, I get it. You both feel that you should be speaking to each other. You both remember the good times when you laughed, when you shared interests. You used to have a great relationship. And she says, yeah, I know, Fiona. I just hope now he's lying next to someone who knows how to love him just like me. There must have been a good reason that he's gone. Every now and then, I think he might want me to come and show up at his door. I'm just too afraid that I'll be wrong. There's my key. There is my key. Selena has given me the key to this dispute. She wants to go. She wants to see Charlie. She's also visualizing him with someone else. They're making these huge assumptions without talking to each other, and they need to sit down. So I go back. There's a lot of running in mediation. I go back to Charlie. I say, Charlie, if Selena came, knocked on your door, and said, I want to talk to you, what would you say? What do you think Charlie's going to say? What? Hands up for yes. Hands up. Who thinks Charlie still might be a bit scared? Okay, that's really awesome. Thank you, guys. Charlie might still be scared. He's feeling really jealous. But what I'm going to say then in that case, because we're kind of 50-50 as to how Charlie feels, and that's how a mediator might be thinking, is say, Charlie, I think you and Selena should come into a room with me. Me in the middle, and I can help you to communicate, but I really think it's very important because you're both visualizing each other like you've moved on, and neither of you have. Now, I would then do that process, we talk, and I get them to talk some more. And I have a lot of hope for Charlie and Selena. I think they're going to make it. I think they just need to learn these methods of communication, develop their systems, and understand that when we communicate properly, when we show our vulnerability, when we demonstrate that we've actually been honestly wrong about something, when we put aside blame, when we work on moving forwards instead of back, we are communicating properly. And it's that kind of communication that helps transform you and that helps you transform those around you. Thank you very much.